From WTDG Toledo, Bridges, with your host, Donnie Miller, connecting our community with information about issues and opportunities.
Hey, good Sunday morning and welcome to Bridges. My name is Donnie. We're going to talk about some terrific news for the city, especially the Central City. And we're talking about the Lucas County Metropolitan Housing Authority and the wonderful, wonderful projects that they have going on over there now. I know you've heard about them. You've probably heard some not so good things, but I'm here to tell you that the positive energy that they are bringing to this community these days is bound to make a lasting change in our community. And these two ladies who are with us this morning intend to make sure that that very thing happens. I am so happy to introduce to you Lenny Willis, who is the director of this $45 million behemoth of an agency. Welcome this morning.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. Very glad to have you. And Dolores Williams, who is the manager of resident and special services. Did I get that right?
That's right.
For that very same organization. You guys have been busy these days.
We have been. We just have so much going on, and we just appreciate the opportunity you're giving us this morning to tell the rest of the community about what we're doing. But first, I'd just like to remind the community that we are almost 78 years old.
That's amazing.
We've been in this community for a very long time. And we have been providing services to low-income families for this period of time. And we are embarking upon a new vision for the Housing Authority, which is what I talked about a little bit last week when we had our groundbreaking ceremony. We can't continue to stay in the place that we are at this time. We have to move forward. We have to make changes in order to continue to address the needs of the families that we serve. So I just wanted the world to know we're 78 years old.
78 years old, strong.
And strong.
Absolutely.
And
let's introduce some folks to what it is you actually do, because I think there's a lot of confusion about what you do. We have your mission statement. I'd like to put that up on the screen if we can get that done. There you go. You are, excuse me, you are really designed to provide quality and affordable housing opportunities, to build a community through partnerships. You encourage self-sufficiency, at the same time protecting the dignity of people with limited resources and safeguarding the public trust. That's a pretty huge undertaking.
It is, and when you really look at our mission statement, and especially the part about protecting the dignity of the people that we serve, that becomes a major issue sometimes. When we're dealing with low-income families, a lot of times people tend to discard their feelings, and not treat them in the way they should be treated. And our Board of Commissioners especially wanted that added to our mission statement, because they take that very seriously, irregardless of the status of a person. If they're in need of our services, and they expect us to provide those services and to treat those individuals with dignity and respect every day. They demand good customer service, and we try every day to make that happen. Sometimes we fall a little short, but if they let us know, then we try to address it.
You try really hard to fix it.
And we take care of it, we fix it.
And you're providing the service for 2,700 public housing units. Everybody should know that, with over 6,000 residents. And there is a sense that all of your residents are not working, when in fact you've got about 1,000, just a little bit more than 1,000, who are working of those 6,000 residents. So,
absolutely, and I think in my role with residents, a picture or a voice that I think the community needs to hear is they are as concerned and committed to improving their communities as all the rest of us are. They want a voice, they want safe communities, they want healthy communities, they want services for their children. Our senior sites are pretty specific in the type of living arrangements they want. Mm-hmm. While we have a lot of our residents that are employed, we have as many or more who are working towards employment. So this is definitely not a throwaway population. I hear from our residents on a regular basis. They want their voices heard, they want their communities improved, and they are giving helpful advice in terms of what the LMHA administration can do to partner with them for improvement in their community. So it's a great opportunity to work with.
I am so glad to hear you say that, because, and you too, Lenny, actually, because we, for some reason, not just this community, but this country tends to devalue those people whose circumstances may not be what the rest of the community expect them to be. You know, they're not working, or they're getting some sort of public assistance, and through that devaluation of that person, we tend to treat them with less dignity as a population, which is, you know, such an unfortunate thing for us as a country. And it's great to know that that's such a solid piece of your mission.
It is, and as I said, we continue to work on that every day. You know, we haven't reached the pinnacle of being perfect. I don't know that we ever will, but it's a mission, and we continue to move in that direction. We continue to grow in that direction. Yes, we do have the 2,700 public housing units that we own and manage, and we had 3,100, and the 400 are being demolished for the redevelopment in the central city that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in just a little bit, but we're going to save that till a little later.
Okay.
You guys need to stick around for that. It's really exciting stuff.
It really is. But some of the other things that we're doing, as I said, we are continuing to grow the Housing Choice Voucher Program.
Would you explain what that is?
The Housing Choice Voucher, and it's the old name for it is Section 8. We provide subsidy for individuals and families to live with private landlords. And we subsidize their rent the same as if they were living in the public housing that we own and manage.
And actually, your sites are scattered, aren't they? You've got sites all over. In several. Are there sites outside of Lucas County?
Not outside of Lucas County, not on the public housing side. On the public housing side, we have units in Sylvania Township, in Springfield Township. We have scattered sites all over the various neighborhoods in the city of Toledo. With the voucher program, that we do have individuals who take those vouchers and live with landlords that are outside of Lucas County. So we cover several areas, and they can take their vouchers. As a matter of fact, their voucher is actually portable, which means that if once they have lived in housing here locally with that voucher for 1 year, if they choose to move to another state, they can do that and take that
voucher with them.
Take the voucher with them. That is correct.
And the voucher actually allows them to do what? Does it?
The voucher allows them to have choice, which is why it's called Housing Choice Voucher. It gives them a choice of where they choose to live. The only concern that they have is whether or not they can find a landlord in a particular area who will accept that voucher. And we have done a lot in trying to educate landlords and bring them on board with our program. But again, it's about choice. We want people to live in whatever area they choose to live in. We don't want to stack everybody in the central city. People look for different school systems. There are many reasons why they choose to live in different areas. And we feel that they should have that choice, the same as any of us would have.
Yeah, and I thought that was particularly interesting information, because the perception is that the housing is all stacked in the central city, that it's all the Albertus Brown, or it's you know, on the east side in those older, pretty easly identifiable units, and that's not the case at all.
That's not the case. No, we have single-family homes, duplexes, townhouses, four-family townhouses that are located in many different parts of the city. And so, again, people have a choice of where they want to go and where they want to live.
And the other thing that you guys do that I thought was just so interesting is that you have a really active residence council.
Absolutely.
That helps direct the operation in some real ways. I mean, these folks on the council have a real voice in what gets done inside of LMHA. Is that right?
That's right. We're in a real exciting phase right now. It's encouraging for me because we're in the process of electing new officers. Each LMHA site can have a council, and there's a leadership body elected to represent, to be the voice for that entire unit. In addition to that, there is a jurisdiction-wide council. So all of those site councils sort of feed into the jurisdiction-wide council, which is the voice to leadership. And they can be as creative and varied in what they do as a body. as HUD allows them to. And I'm really excited. We're right in the middle, approaching new elections, and we've got quite a few individuals who want to serve in leadership roles on the resident councils.
And they are supportive of, let me ask this question a little differently. There are guidelines that you all use to determine eligibility for, or suitability as well, eligibility and suitability for residency in all of your housing units. And are those federally imposed guidelines? Are those locally imposed guidelines? Are they council imposed guidelines?
It's really a combination of federal and local. There are certain guidelines defined by the Code of Federal Regulations that we have to abide by. Those are included, in our different plans that we have. But also, there are some local preferences, local things that we can include as well. And a lot of that has to depend on, your jurisdiction. What we determine is appropriate here may not necessarily be appropriate in other places.
Sure.
And so we have to look at where we are. But there are certain federal guidelines that are mandated that all housing authorities would have to follow.
And does the council have the authority to add to that list if they'd like to?
They could do that.
They can do
They
that.
could do that. They could have that voice, because annually we look at, on the public housing side, we have the admissions and continued occupancy policy. And that basically defines all the rules and regulations along with the lease that they have. And then on the housing choice voucher side, we have the administrative plan. And those documents contain the day-to-day operating protocol for those two programs. And annually, we review those, we update them, and those things go to the residents for review and comment before they actually go to the board for approval, or if we have to submit them to HUD for approval. But the residents have an opportunity to have a voice in that before they're actually completed and made official by our board.
And one of the other things we didn't talk about, we should have mentioned this a little earlier, is that some of your residents pay rent. This is not necessarily a place to go for free, where you live for free. Do you want to explain that process?
And that's absolutely true. The rents are based on 30% of your adjusted gross income. And if your rent goes up, then obviously, your income goes up, obviously your rent's going to increase as well. And if your income decreases, then your rent can be decreased as well. But we do have working people.
Yeah.
And then there are some folks who live with us, particularly on the elderly side, who receive Social Security as well as pensions from some major companies. So their income may be a little bit higher than would be normally expected. And we have some people who actually pay what we call a flat rent, which means that there's a certain amount that we would cap off for that particular unit based on size, location, and so forth. And so we have some families who are actually paying the flat rent. They're paying the highest amount that we can assess them.
That you can assess them.
Yes.
We're going to go away for a second, but I want to come back and talk about your new elderly units, your Collingwood Green units. You had a terrific groundbreaking last week, I think. It's a marvelous, marvelous project for that part of town. I'm really excited about it. We're going to go away, but I promise you we will be right back with these wonderful young women. Hang tight.